What up, peeps? Breaking news today, June 12th, 2014. The WWE has released 10 wrestlers, 10 talents, doing their annual spring cleaning. I don't remember if they did it last year or not. I know obviously they cut Derek Bateman and certain talents last year, but big time, massive spring cleaning, folks. 10 WWE talents or wrestlers released, and we'll give you the list right now. 3MB no more, folks. Kiss that comedy act goodbye. Kiss all hopes of Drew McIntyre getting a push in the WWE goodbye, as Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre have been released. This kind of surprising, as they have been featured on TV quite a bit, even being on this most recent episode of Raw as the Shield destroyed them. Well, Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose destroyed them. But no more Jinder Mahal, no more Drew McIntyre. Jinder Mahal really hadn't been utilized since the Great Khali storyline that he was involved with in his entrance in the WWE. And of course, Drew McIntyre, so much potential, squandered away. WWE really not knowing what to do with him, putting him in the comedy role. And essentially that was that for his WWE career. The chosen one, the first one chosen to be released along with Jinder Mahal. Other talents released, this one semi-surprising as she had been featured on TV lately as well. Oksana. No more Foxana, I guess. We saw the strange segment with Alicia Fox pouring popcorn and water all over Oksana and strangely, kind of chucking her to the, chucking her by the wayside. So, Oksana, no more. See you later, Oksana. Goodbye. Best of luck in your future endeavors. Kurt Hawkins. Always been a big fan of this guy ever since Hawkins and Ryder debuted in ECW. I liked them when they were the Edgeheads under Edge. They were former tag team champions on SmackDown. Really nothing was ever done with Kurt Hawkins since then. He had tagged up with Tyler Rex last year, and then they were actually getting pretty popular in NXT, but Tyler Rex was released, so that was kind of the end of the potential of Kurt Hawkins. He was just kind of jobbing on Superstars and Main Event, and we wish Kurt Hawkins the best in his future endeavors. Camacho is a guy who had been on TV in the past, utilizes Hunico's bodyguard. Obviously, Hunico plays Sin Cara now, so really the use for Camacho was slim to none, and not surprised Camacho has been released. Yotzi Tatsu, a guy who had been with the company for a very long time. They'd essentially kind of typecast him and forced him to stay down to NXT. Guy is a very good wrestler, not exactly good on the stick, not exactly highly entertaining. Remember when he debuted in ECW back in 2008? So he'd been with the company for like 6 years. Unfortunate that he was not utilized really at all. Tagged with Mark Henry for a short time. That was about the extent of his usage on Raw. That was probably back in 2010, 2011. Other than that, you really hadn't seen much usage from Yotzi Tatsu. It's a shame, as he was very talented. Yet another guy who comes in from the Indies or from the international circuit, and that is just not utilized properly by the WWE brass. Holla, holla, holla! Teddy Long, former SmackDown GM, one could argue the most prolific and historic SmackDown general manager of all time. He had been the SmackDown general manager multiple times. He and Vicky Guerrero, probably the most notable in that role. They had not used Teddy Long on television since the whole John Laurinaitis storyline, and then Booker T, and he was kind of Booker T's assistant on SmackDown, and then they got rid of Booker T and brought in Vicky Guerrero. I was actually an episode of SmackDown they taped in Providence. I was there live for that. And, no more Teddy Long. Holla, holla, holla. See you later, playa. Great run. I could argue, obviously former ref, former manager. Could argue a possible future WWE Hall of Famer one day. But, obviously, the course had run out in the WWE for Teddy Long. We shall see if he goes and is a ref or a general manager in the indie circuit, or if he just retires. I hope at this point he's got plenty of money to sit on, because he's been in the business since the early days of WCW in the late 80s, early 90s, possibly even longer. So, one can only hope that Teddy Long saved his money, and he'll be okay. Big Bad Brodus Clay. Here's a guy I had high hopes for coming out of NXT a couple years ago. Of course, once paired with Alberto Del Rio as his bodyguard. then the whole Funkadactyls and Tensai. They turned Brodus Clay heel and then just did nothing with him. That was essentially an excuse just to write him off television. Even Tensai doesn't really do much. He kind of does announce at work. They've changed his name again as well. And it's just unfortunate. I thought Brodus Clay had a lot to offer. I thought he had a certain star power to him. The fact that he was Snoop Dogg's former bodyguard, I thought added some cachet. But they really never utilized that to its best of its ability. They just used him as the comedy Funkasaurus, and then once they finally turned him heel, that was the end of him. And very unfortunate. Hope that Brodus Clay can get a job. I can see him or Drew McIntyre being one of the guys to possibly resurface in TNA. Not many of these guys, but maybe Brodus Clay, maybe Drew McIntyre, and it's a shame that he was not utilized to the best of his abilities. The final wrestler on this list, this guy was very popular at one time in the WWE. Evan Bourne, the high flyer, had not been on television in close to 2 years. He had been suspended due to drug use. I think he was suspended with the R-Truth thing a couple of years ago when they had R-Truth and The Miz versus The Rock and John Cena at Survivor Series. And then soon thereafter, R-Truth was suspended, and they broke up the Miz and R-Truth tag team, and Evan Bourne was suspended as well. Supposedly this was for synthetic marijuana, if memory serves me correctly. Don't remember exactly what it was for, but after that, Evan Bourne got hurt, and then just tried to work his way back into the roster, and was never really brought back onto the main roster. So, sad day for Evan Bourne. Again, he's a guy who would really bolster TNA's X Division or Ring of Honor. He had wrestled for Ring of Honor in the past, so shall see what the future has in store for Evan Bourne. Still relatively young, early 20s, late 30s. So, late 20s, early 30s rather. So certainly still more potential for Evan Bourne, but not currently with the WWE as he was released. And finally, referee Mark Harris. So there's your list, folks. 10 talents released from the WWE. What do you think? Did they make a mistake with some of these guys? Are you glad they cut these guys and women? Were they just taking up space, and now this opens up spots for guys from NXT, guys who haven't been utilized to the best of their abilities? We shall see, folks. It's another edition of the Joe Passarelli Show. Joe Passarelli here. Like, subscribe. Peace.